到说了，到说了。Good afternoon, everyone. This is Gong Zhou from CGTN, and we're here at the Media Center of CPC's 19th National Congress. And standing beside me is Wang Hui. She's our reporter at our TV channel, who has already prepared a lot of questions to ask about China's industrialization and the IT industry. So we're here to cover a group interview.
Yes,
right, a group interview. So she will be the one. She will try to raise her question to the minister who is in charge of this industrialization. So, what kind of questions have you think?
Well, well, I think when we talk about the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, we will think about a lot of things. And the group interview will start at 7 p.m. Beijing time, so we still have about 1 hour ahead of the group interview. And actually today, besides the Minister of Chinese Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, there were more interviewees are attending the group interview, and they are from Chinese enterprises, and they are from local government. So I think they are going to cover a wide range of information, a wide range of topics regarding China's industry and information technology. And shall we maybe just keep walking and show people around? And I think the interviewees will include the Secretary of the Party Committee of China Telecom and a major China tele giant, and another one is the Secretary of the Party Committee and the President of Beijing Automotive Group, and the fourth one is the Secretary of the Party Committee of Shandong Province of Economy and Information Technology. So I would say that they really, represent people from different areas, but all of them are related to the field of industry and information technology.
Okay. Yeah. So I am a tech guy, as you already know about it, and I just heard that there is a high senior official from Shandong Province, right? And
he's a kind of a local governmental official, yes.
Local government official, and I'm from Shandong, so this is one more concern about me. Yeah. So I'm really interested into this group interview. So what kind of questions have you prepared?
Well, I think when we talk about this ministry, the first thing that really come up in my mind is about an action plan called Made in China 2025. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this term. Actually, it's China's first 10-year action plan to promote China's manufacturing. And the goal is to build China as a leading manufacturing power in the world by 2049.
But as far as I know, China is already the world factory. So what is the difference? Where will this plan make?
Well, I think China's purpose is much more than being a factory. Now the key point is to be more innovative, to promote innovation. So in this plan, there are 10 key sectors, including new energy cars, robots, and high-tech information. And also there are 9 tasks was listed as priorities, such as technology, innovation, green manufacturing, and fostering Chinese brands. So I think China, has quite ambitious.
Yeah, so more innovation and more creativity in the manufacturing industry. And talking about robots, you just mentioned, so I think China, robots think with AI, artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is quite a topic in China and around the world right now. So companies like Baidu and even Alibaba is now investing huge money into this area. Like Baidu claimed itself as an AI company instead of a search engine anymore. And Alibaba has just raised a new section called Damo to do more research about about the basic science and including AI. So So, is there any product that is available right now to show us what AI in China is currently developing?
Sure. Well, you just mentioned Baidu, Alibaba, and actually there's another major company that kind of putting a lot of efforts in AI industry, that is Tencent. So that's why, a lot of Chinese people are very familiar with the term BAT, B-A-T. But actually, besides BAT, these three major companies, actually there are some other, companies that are really focusing on the AI industry. And this one, I'm taking a little secret with me. And this one is from other AI company. I'm trying to turn it on.
Flytech, as I know, is the best company in China concerning voice recognition.
Oh yes. Well, China, the technology in language processing, voice recognition and image recognition is really advanced in the world.
Oh, it's putting up.
And what can you guess? First, can you guess what this is? Well,
so is it related to voice recognition?
Well, it's just as big as a cell phone. Actually, it's smaller compared to my, Okay, sorry.
Okay. Okay. So it speaks with Chinese.
It really speaks. Actually, it's a translator. So basically, it can instant recognize your voice. When you speak to it in Chinese, it can translate your Chinese into English, but it's more than that. It can translate your Chinese to, French, Spanish, Japanese, and, it's multilingual translator. And also, it can translate English into Chinese.
So backwards.
Yes, it's two-way exchange. So it's very convenient. So sometimes I heard people to say that, oh, I want to travel overseas, but unfortunately I can't speak English.
Okay, you can't speak their language.
Yeah, that's to a lot of people that's a big problem. But I think this one is quite convenient, very helpful. So if you are a traveler and you can't speak English, probably you can just take this one with you. Okay, we can have a little test.
So to see how it's working.
Yeah, you want to try it?
So
I can press the key for you, and you can just say whatever you want.
Whatever I want.
Yeah.
So from Chinese to English?
Maybe try. Well, hopefully it's from Chinese to English. Let's give a shot.
Okay. So what should I say then?
Whatever you want. Or maybe just something like that.
Maybe something like that. Maybe I'll just try to say
Okay.
I'm happy today in Chinese and see what will it tell us.
Okay. Tell me. So what are you going to say in Chinese? I'm happy today.
Yeah, I'm quite happy today.
Okay. Okay. Let's give a shot.
我今天特别高兴。
I am very happy today.
Okay.
Oh, is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. I'm very happy today because
Yeah?
I'm on a live with a beautiful lady and and we're reporting really important political meetings here. And so
I feel like we can give a little bit bigger challenge for
Bigger
this
challenge.
one. That one I think is quite simple. Maybe say something
it's everyday sentence.
yeah, let's do something about the Ministry of Information and Technology, something like that. Make it more complex.
Okay, I'll
and
just
see
say
if
the
we
name
can
of
get
the ministry, the Ministry of Industrialization and Information Technology.
Yeah, and
Okay.
yeah, we're maybe something like we're here for blah 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 blah.
Let's see if it knows the name of the industry.
Yeah.
我现在正在工业与信息化部的发布会上。
I am now at the conference on industry and informatization.
Information.
Information. Okay, that's close.
That's close. Yeah, I would say that's close. Actually, I think the correct name is Ministry of Industry and Information Technology.
Technology, yeah.
But it's quite close. It's already very close now. So, like some products like this really can change people's lives, and this sort of invention will be quite helpful for
Yeah.
ordinary people, I think.
Yeah, like if I'm in a foreign country, like if they speak other languages than Chinese and English, which I don't know any of. So I can use this translator to just point it to a random person and ask him, where should I go?
Yeah, that's right. And also, sometimes when we talk about AI, artificial or artificial intelligence, people, no, what is this doing? It's just singing now. I think I have to turn it off. Oh gosh. Well, it's telling stories. Okay, I'm sorry. You have to, sit back. Well, when we say AI, it really reminds people of AlphaGo. The very famous computer program that play, the board game Go, and
I was there seeing it
Okay.
beating, China's best Go player Ke Jie.
Okay.
That is
How
very
did you feel
impressive.
about it? The game.
I think it is extremely impressive because the game of Go has been in China for thousands of years. People have been learning about it, researching about it with the computer for quite a long time. But still, a real human player cannot beat the machine. This kind of reinforced machine learning product. It is very impressive because. The players themselves say that AlphaGo is making some special moves they have never seen before. They used to say that this AlphaGo's move may seem naive or seems too simple, but later in the game they realized that AlphaGo do these moves for a deeper meaning, for further consideration.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so actually China has been, putting a lot of efforts to develop artificial intelligence here in China. And I remember in General Secretary Xi Jinping's work report, which was released just a couple of days ago, right? And he touched on that. He said in the future we have to connect artificial intelligence, internet, and the digital to the industry here. So that's one of the key sectors we have to focus on in the next 5 years, 10 years, or even longer. And now the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, they're working on an action plan to focus on the artificial intelligence, to promote artificial intelligence in China. Why this plan is so important? Because a lot of industry insiders are paying special attention to this, because to them, where the fund will go, it's very important. It means if they can get more money to invest, to have better innovation in the future. That's one point. The other point they care about is how to connect this innovative technology with industries. So that means if the new technologies can be really used practically.
to actually put it into
Yes.
the production.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so it seems like they're actually doing something to actively put AI into people's lives, into making real products that could benefit all of us.
Yep.
So apart from the AI technology, as this group interview indicates, there are more areas to cover, like China's industrialization. So I don't know much about it because I'm basically a tech guy. I only know how to maybe make some things, but I don't know how the industry is actually moving. So do you have any information to share with us?
Industrialization. Well, actually, when you say industrialization, I probably have to, go back to the Made in China 2025 action plan again. Basically, that's kind of a guiding plan for this ministry, for this field.
So general guidance.
Yeah, it's quite important in this field. And also, it not only, I remember just at the press conference right before the opening ceremony of this year's National Congress, I remember there was one reporter who raised a question. She said that some Western companies are concerned that some Western companies think this action plan is not good for overseas companies because it only provides beneficial policies to Chinese companies. And I remember the spokesman responded that actually this plan treats both domestic and overseas companies the same, and they really hope that the companies can work together, can cooperate. And also this spokesman also complained that he said actually some foreign governments, some other countries impose very strict limitation on Chinese goods and Chinese equipment. So he hopes both sides, he means both China and the other foreign countries, can expand the openness and deepen the cooperation. Yeah.
So to show sincerity, China has first opened its arms to the foreign companies to allow them to compete in the same under the same policy. So now China hopes that maybe other countries will try to open its own market to China. So it goes both ways.
Yes, that's very important for the international trade.
I get it because I'm interested in smartphones. In that field, there's fierce competition going on, like basically everywhere, because everyone has to use a phone nowadays, so they have to buy it. So phone makers are really nervous or really keen about the policies around different kind of countries. So
actually, when you talk about, you mentioned the smartphones, cell phones, it just reminds me of another very important policy that has been enacted by the Ministry of Information, Ministry of Industry and Information Technology. The ministry canceled the long distance and the roaming charge for the cell phones in China, and this policy, the cancellation, has benefited 80 million users in China. So that's a big change for Chinese people.
Yeah, that could be really cool because I'm in Beijing now, but my hometown is in Shandong province. So when I dial back home, or when I make phone calls back home, they have to when I make the phone call, I have to be charged for extra money, a few months ago. But now that extra money has just been taken out. I've been wondering this for quite a while. Canceling these fees may hurt the revenue of the mobile operators, like China Telecom you just mentioned, so how do those companies make money then?
Well, actually, I'm not a very not an expert in this area, but I think that's a good question. Probably later on I can raise this question to these, representatives from the China Telecom company. I think he can be the best person to answer your question. And also, I think there is a big context I would like to provide. I remember in March this year, just 6 months ago, during the two sessions, it's a very important political event in China. Chinese Prime Minister Li Keqiang, Premier Li Keqiang, he urged the three major telecom companies to cancel the fee. Also, he said that it's important to make the internet connectivities faster and make it more affordable. And as you know, internet connectivity and also it's very important to not just for ordinary people, but also for companies, for China's economy. So that's why this policy is so important. That's why this policy has drawn so much attention.
Yeah, because apart from the roaming fees that is just taken away from my life, the internet connectivity is really cheaper. I can feel it because at home, like 10 years ago, I have like 2 megabytes of connectivity of internet available to my home. And that price is so high, it's like 200 yuan a month. And so now, for 200 yuan a month, I get 100 megabytes. That is 50 times faster. And they're not bragging about the numbers. It's the true download speed I can see on the screen. So it's very amazing that I don't. So in the old times, maybe like 5 or 10 years ago, I have to worry about the internet connectivity at home because when I choose the apartment to live in. But now I don't need to care about it anymore. It's just it's fast everywhere. I don't need to think about it. It's just I can just make a phone call and people will come to my house and install the fast internet.
And you can imagine that for one person, maybe you can just save 200 a year, but to a company, especially now China is trying to help small and medium-sized company to develop. To them, it will be a much bigger change for them.
Yeah, because 100 megabytes is far from enough for a company to operate. So talking about internet connection for China's IT industry, is there any more things you want to share?
Well, I remember you mentioned the robot. I think that's a very interesting topic as well, and I'm gonna pay more attention to robotics industry as well. China has been promoting the development of the robotics industry, and the technical level in China in this field has been improved remarkably in the past years. And the robots has been widely used in some areas. For example, some surgery robots has been widely used in the highest level hospitals in China. And the next step is they want to extend the sectors that has been that will use robots. Now it's more traditionally robots were used in like automotive sectors.
Yeah, building cars.
Yeah, building cars. That's very normal, and we see that quite often. But in the future, they want to use robots in services sectors, in medical sectors.
Medical.
Yes. So we will see it more, in more and more places, and more, kind of become a common item in our daily lives, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, medical robot. Talking about that, I went to a conference, I think, World Robot Conference. It's also happened in Beijing a few months ago, and I saw a medical robot actually in action. It is like it is like a remote, remote surgery machine, I think. Okay, with the operator or with the doctor in Beijing operating a machine, the same machine can copy his actions on a patient, maybe 10,000 miles away. So that could be that's very impressive, because I cannot sense too much latency. Just when he makes the move, the robot makes the move. It happens like instantly or simultaneously. That's very impressive, because that requires really good internet connection, and it's not about the bandwidth or how fast it is. It's how it is the time of response that stand in the way. And as a PC gamer, I have to say that this used to be really bad in China, but now they're having simultaneous actions going on, and it's doing operations on people's body, so it has to be secured.
Yeah, and very accurate, the moves.
Yeah, to be accurate. So that technology is really amazing.
And I think it's going to bring a huge change to the medical fields in the future. Yeah.
So because experts are in Beijing or in big cities, but maybe in the smaller ones there may be not enough resources to treat people's diseases. But now they can do it remotely.
Yes.
Yes. That could be really
I think
impressive.
There are some areas in China they are very poor or far away from big cities. They really need the best experience. So I think this kind of robots can really help them. Yeah.
So I think there are more and more people gathering inside this room.
We can take a look. There are more and more reporters are here. So, and I think the group interview will start in about maybe half an hour. Yeah.
So maybe you need some time to make some further preparations.
Yeah, yes. Probably I have to say bye to you and to everybody here, and I need to, really focus on my questions and focus on the group interviews.
Okay, thanks for you to joining our live today. Okay,
thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Okay, so for this interview, this group interview of China's highest officials on the industry and IT, we have further coverage available later on after this interview is complete, because we have you don't only have me here reporting inside this room. We have other people sitting inside of our office writing about this event. So they're now currently busy gathering information for this interview and doing some background checking. So maybe after this interview finished, it will be finished at 8 p.m. Beijing time. That would be 0 o'clock in GMT. So you should be prepared about this, because China's industry and the IT sector is one of the fastest growing sectors. It is really impressive, and you may have heard a lot about China's. You may be hearing a lot about China's achievements in this kind of area. China's AI development, China's even the quantum satellite. I don't know if you have heard about it, and China is really leading in this kind of information technologies. So you may want to hear for more about how China is going to further develop this kind of technologies, because this CPC Congress is the chance that the CPC members get together and discuss about the future. So it holds it holds once in 5 years. So they have to prepare for the future 5 years. That could be really hard for people to think of, because 5 years ago I can never imagine that I am here reporting this. So I can't even predict what I would be doing 5 years in the future. So that could be really hard. And they're preparing not only for a person, they're preparing for a whole country, and it is the country with the largest population on Earth. So to talk more about this event, we have invited back actually John Goodrich.
Okay. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah,
because
again.
I saw your live on the legislations.
Yeah, that is from rule of law to IT and industrialization.
Mm-hmm. So this time is for the industry and
Yeah.
IT. So have you got any knowledge about China's IT sector?
Well, nowhere near as much as you. You're the expert. As you know, it's kind of becoming an incubator for tech firms around Hefei. And visited some AI firms. iFlyTech was one of them.
Yeah.
Specialist in voice-based voice synthesis, which is very, very interesting indeed.
We just tested a device from
really?
iFlyTech. It is their translator. That translator holding your hand is smaller than a mobile phone, but it can record what I say and translate instantly into English to let you hear it.
I could do with that during this press conference, I think. It would help me.
Yeah, it's useful.
Did it work well?
I think so. We tested a simple sentence like "I'm happy today" and it translated accurately. And we tried, like the name of the ministry, and it's not completely right, but it communicated it did the communication. It can make people understand what the ministry does.
Yeah, they in the headquarters in Hefei, they have a showroom of all their latest technology, which you can play with. Including education technology. That's a big element, I think, of AI in China. Yeah, and I tested that out, the English language version, and it judged my English to be very bad. It gave me a poor score.
Really?
Yeah, it was very embarrassing, and that was in the live stream as well. It's very awkward.
Oh.
But iFlyTech's a world leader, isn't it, in this field?
Yeah, we're leaders in voice recognition, because it's like 5 years ago when I first used an input method on Android phone for Chinese people. Chinese language is hard to write and is hard to type. So they have to figure out various ways to simplify the process for people to input their language into the phone. So iFlyTech did one of the amazing things that you can just speak to the phone and the Chinese characters appear automatically. It's like there's small latency, less than 1 second. It's like as I speak and the words will appear. And in Chinese language it could be really hard. I don't know if you know Japanese. It's like Japanese language is also like this.
Yeah.
It may be common in East Asian countries. One pronunciation may have multiple meanings.
Sure.
So,
can it interpret those meanings? Based on other words, maybe?
Yeah, it seems like it knows what the context you're speaking, because the first sentence may be a little bit awkward, and afterwards, when it learn what are you talking about, it could further adjust itself or coordinate itself into the topic you're talking.
It's incredible. And it's also, I think for you this is very exciting. For me sometimes this is a little bit scary.
Scary?
Yeah, the machine learning. I mean, I know it's going to help us a lot in the future. I understand it is, and I understand some of the benefits. But the fact machines can do that, you don't feel any kind of trepidation about that?
Maybe for me that I know a machine can't think.
But you understand it better than me.
Maybe, I mean, it's normal for people to suspect that maybe the machine is actually thinking. So it's like actually there are a lot of people that are thinking the same like you. Elon Musk.
Yeah.
He's warning people about the danger that AI could bring to the world. And although there are also people who disagree with him, but it is a voice right there it's reported widely, known everybody. So it seems like we have not enough time for a further discussion. So maybe it's time for me to to join one hui to see what this interview is going on.
Okay, great. Well, enjoy the briefing. I hope it's informative and pleasure to see you.
Okay, pleasure to see you too.
Okay.
So this is the end of this broadcast. You can just wait for about 1 hour and a half and to see what this group interview is all about. We are currently writing about this.